Okay, so our first story today is my 67-year-old dad is the victim of a romance scammer. Hi Aunt Jay, this has been the hardest few months of my life. I feel like I've lost my dad, but not in the way that people would expect. He's still here, but it's like he's been taken over by someone else. It started with small things. My dad has always been careful with money. He was the kind of man who'd keep the freezer stocked, who'd check 3 times if the bill was paid on time. But suddenly his cupboards were bare. His fridge was almost empty. Even little things like my mum's jewellery that he kept for sentimental reasons, just gone. When I asked him about it, he brushed me off. He said the bank was messing around with his account. That made no sense. And Dad never had any issues with money. He was always steady and sensible. After a few weeks of excuses, he finally admitted the truth. He said he had a girlfriend. I didn't even know he was seeing anyone. Then he showed me her picture, a stunning woman in her 40s. Honestly, way out of his league. Her name is Glenda. Then he admitted he'd never met her in person, not once, but said they FaceTime every evening and that she's real. He said that she'd been unwell and had massive medical bills. He told me he'd been helping her out. So I asked him how much. He looked me dead in the eye and said £45,000. That's all of his savings, every bit of security he had for the rest of his life, gone. I couldn't believe it. Why didn't he speak to me about this? I said to him, Dad, this is a scam. But he wouldn't hear it. He snapped back that I was just upset that he was moving on, that I didn't want him to replace Mum. Aunt Jay, hearing that nearly broke me. I lost Mum too. I've never begrudged his happiness, but this isn't love. This is someone bleeding him dry. And since then, things have only gotten worse. He's become secretive. He's stopped seeing his friends. Every time they call, he makes excuses as to why he can't meet up with them. And when I phone, he gets me off the phone as quickly as possible, saying, I need to keep the line free for Glenda. He doesn't even want me coming round. He says he's too busy or it's not a good time. We used to be so close. I'd pop in every few days and he'd light up seeing me. Now it's like I'm intruding. I'm terrified that he's going to sell the house next. It's all he's got left, and I can see her working her way towards it. I even went to the police. They told me there's nothing they can do. I've no details, no address, no number other than the one he uses, no bank account in her name. Just Glenda and a photo. I even did a reverse image search. Nothing. She's either using a stolen picture or she's too clever to trace. I said to him, Dad, if she really loves you, why hasn't she met you? Why does she only want money? But he shuts me down every time. He says, you don't understand. We love each other, and he won't hear another word against her. It feels like I've lost him, not to death, not to illness, but to this woman who doesn't even exist. And I don't know what to do anymore. I really feel for you, because you're not just watching your dad get scammed. You're watching the man you knew slip away, and that's a different kind of grief altogether. Here's the thing, loneliness makes people vulnerable. It doesn't matter how sensible, how smart, how careful they were before. When someone comes along and they fill that empty space, calls them every night, says the right words, makes them feel wanted, logic goes out the window. Your dad isn't seeing facts. He's chasing a feeling. And right now, in his eyes, you're threatening that feeling. That's why he's shutting you out. It's not because he doesn't love you. It's because he can't face the possibility that this Glenda isn't real. And if she's not real, he's not only losing all his savings, he's lost the only bit of hope and love he thinks he's got left. And you've done all the right things already. You've gone to the police, you've done the reverse image search, you've tried reasoning. But the truth is, until he's ready to hear it, he just won't. What you can do now is protect what's left. Speak to the solicitor about putting safeguards on the house, maybe. See if the bank can put alerts on large transfers. Sometimes professional voices get through where family can't. But more than anything, stay close. I know it hurts. I know it feels like you're banging your head against a wall, but if you cut him off, she wins completely. He needs you when this all comes crashing down, because it will. And when it does, he's going to feel humiliated and heartbroken. And he'll need his daughter more than ever. So keep showing up, keep being steady. You might not be able to stop this scam, but you can make sure your dad isn't completely left alone when the truth finally hits. What are your thoughts? Put them down in the comments below. Any advice or suggestions? Have you ever been in this situation before? Okay, on to our second story today. My son did a DNA kit test and now my husband thinks our marriage is a lie. Hi Aunt Jay, I never imagined something silly as a home DNA kit would destroy a family, but here we are. My son is 24 and he bought one of those ancestry kits online. You know, the ones that tell you your heritage and connect you to distant cousins. I thought it was all harmless fun, and he was excited, joking that maybe he'd find out we had royal blood or something. But when the results came back, everything changed. He sat me down with his laptop open, looking pale. The test showed that my husband, the man who raised him, loved him, been his dad since day one, wasn't his biological father. At first, I thought it must be some mistake. I told him those kits can't be accurate. But when I saw the details, the match percentages, my heart sank because deep down I knew the truth. Before I met my husband, I had a short relationship with someone else. It ended quickly. And when I found out I was pregnant, I truly believed it was my husband's child. We were together by then, and I never questioned it. Not once in 30 years. I never meant to deceive anyone. I never thought I was even keeping a secret, but try telling my husband that now. When my son told him, he was furious with me. Furious with my son, furious at everything. He shouted. So I've been living a lie for 3 decades. He stormed out and slammed the door shut and came back hours later and hasn't looked at either of us the same way since. And now he sleeps in the spare room. He barely eats with us. He looks at me like I'm a stranger. And the hardest part is, I honestly didn't even know, but he just doesn't believe me. And my son's heartbroken. He keeps apologizing, saying, Mom, I shouldn't have done the test. He feels guilty, as if he's the one that's blown the family apart. He even asked if he should contact the man who might be his biological father. I have no answers for him. Meanwhile, my husband's anger is turning into something colder. He won't answer when I ask him if he still loves me. He won't talk about our future. Says he's not even sure if he's actually wasting his life with me. And then I've got this real fear of what happens when this gets out. I mean, my husband's family are close, Sunday dinners, holidays together. When they find out he isn't our son's biological father, I know just how cruel some of them can be. I can already hear the whispers. He's raised another man's child. She tricked him. It's so humiliating, Aunt Jay, for him, for me, and for our son. I never asked for any of this. The life I thought was solid, 30 years of marriage, raising our boy together, building a home, suddenly feels so fragile. Like one test result has shattered it into pieces, and I'll never be able to glue it back together again. And I can't stop asking myself, am I guilty of betrayal even though I never knew the truth? This is one of those situations where there's no easy answers, only heartbreak all round. First, let's deal with the guilt you're carrying. You didn't set out to trick anyone. You believed your husband was the father, and you lived your life in truth for 30 years. That's not betrayal, that's how life is complicated sometimes. Biology doesn't always follow neat little rules, and none of us can rewrite history. But for your husband, this isn't about biology, it's about trust. It's about standing in front of his son, who he raised and loved all his life, suddenly feeling like the ground under his feet aren't solid anymore. Right now, he's not hearing logic. He's drowning in humiliation, anger, and fear. Fear of what people might say. Sometimes the shame of what others think hurts even more than the situation itself. And your son, well, my heart goes out to him. He didn't do anything wrong. He had no idea that the simplest test could shake your family like this. But now he's carrying guilt that does not belong to him. You just need to keep reminding him that none of this is his fault. So what to do? You give space where it's needed. But you also keep steady. Keep telling your husband that nothing's changed about the love, the family, the years you've built together. Because that's the truth. One test doesn't erase 3 decades of fatherhood. And when the time is right, perhaps counselling could help. For both of you, maybe even as a family. Because this isn't just about who shares DNA. It's about grief, identity, and trust. And those things, they don't heal overnight. But don't carry the blame yourself. You didn't choose this. You've been blindsided just as much as they have. All you can do now is be honest, be patient, and keep reminding them that family is more than blood. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on today's stories. Have you ever been in any of these situations? Let me know any advice you might have. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments section. Subscribe for more stories like this. I post every single week. But until next time, guard your heart and protect your peace.